The wrench came down hard. Sarina Esmailzade's skull cracked like pottery, and she thought, impossibly, in that final lucid moment before the second blow, "Not my father, please, not him." But it was. Blood pooled across the marble floor of her childhood home in Tehran, the same floor where she'd learned to walk 22 years earlier, the same floor where she danced as a little girl, spinning in circles while her father clapped. Now he stood over her, chest heaving, knuckles white around the bloodied tool, and she couldn't reconcile the two men, the father who'd loved her and the father who was killing her. She was a beauty queen, an Instagram influencer with 300,000 followers, a young woman who'd dared to post photos without her hijab, who'd shared videos of herself dancing to Dua Lipa, who'd committed the unforgivable sin of living like she was free. And on September 23, 2023, her father decided that freedom had to die. But here's what nobody knew yet, what the police would discover when they finally cracked open his phone. This wasn't a crime of passion. This wasn't a father who snapped. This was planned, coordinated, encouraged by dozens of men who believed they had the right to decide who lived and who died based on how much skin a woman showed on the internet. If you care about women dying for the crime of freedom, you need to subscribe right now, because what happens next will shatter everything you thought you knew about honor killings. I'm going to show you evidence that will make your blood boil, reveal a conspiracy that stretches across Iran, and expose a truth so dark that those who don't subscribe will regret scrolling past this video in exactly 4 minutes. Don't be one of them. 3 months before her murder, Sarina Esmailzadeh posted a photo that would seal her fate. She stood in a Tehran cafe, hair flowing freely past her shoulders, catching golden afternoon light. She wore jeans and a fitted black top. Her smile was radiant, genuine, the kind of smile that comes from someone who's finally decided to stop apologizing for existing. The caption read, "Choose freedom, even when it costs everything." Within an hour, the post had 15,000 likes. Within 2 hours, it had 437 comments. Half of them celebrated her courage. "You're an inspiration. Stay strong. Queen, you give us hope." The other half promised her death. "Your father should be ashamed. Whore, you'll burn in hell. Someone needs to teach this bitch a lesson." Sarina screenshot the threats, like she always did. She'd been collecting them for months, storing them in a folder on her phone labeled evidence. She'd told her fiancé, Arman, "If something happens to me, if I die in some accident, you'll know it wasn't an accident. These messages are proof." Arman had laughed nervously, kissed her forehead. "Nothing's going to happen to you. We're leaving in 3 months, remember? Turkey first, then maybe Germany. We'll be married by Christmas." She'd smiled, but her eyes held something he couldn't read. Fear? Resignation? Foresight? "I hope you're right," she'd whispered. Sarina wasn't always brave. She'd grown up terrified. Actually, terrified of her father's temper, of her brother's judgment, of the morality police who patrolled the streets looking for women whose hijabs had slipped too far back. She'd worn the uniform of compliance for 20 years. Black chador, eyes down, voice soft. But something broke in her at 19. She'd watched a documentary about Malala Yousafzai, the Pakistani girl who'd been shot for advocating for education. Malala survived. Malala thrived. Malala refused to be silenced by men who thought girls should be invisible. If she can survive a bullet to the head, Sarina told her best friend Nazanin, "I can survive posting a photo without my hijab." She started small. A photo of her hand holding coffee. No face, just the hint of bare wrist, the suggestion of painted nails. Then a photo of her hair from behind. Then her face, partially covered. Then, finally, fully visible, defiantly beautiful, unapologetically alive. Her following exploded. 300,000 people, mostly young Iranian women, started following her. They sent her messages. You gave me courage to take mine off too. Because of you, I left my abusive husband. You saved my life. But with fame came fury. Her father, Mahmoud Esmailzadeh, was a former Revolutionary Guard officer. He'd spent his life enforcing the Islamic Republic's rules, ensuring women stayed covered, silent, obedient. And now his own daughter was the face of rebellion? The shame was unbearable. "You're killing us," he'd scream during their fights. "Every photo you post is a knife in our hearts. The neighbors won't speak to us. Your uncles have disowned us. Your brothers can't find wives because of you. Then disown me," Sarina would shoot back. "I'd rather die free than live in your cage." She had no idea how literal that choice would become. The final 3 weeks of her life were a pressure cooker. Her eldest brother, Reza, showed up at her apartment unannounced. He stood in her doorway, jaw tight, and said, "Dad's planning something. I don't know what, but he's different. Quiet. That's when he's most dangerous." "What am I supposed to do?" Sarina asked. "Stop living? Delete everything I've built? Become invisible again?" Reza looked at his shoes. "Maybe just slow down, post less, give him time to cool off." "There is no cooling off," Sarina said quietly. "You know that. This ends with me leaving Iran or me dead. There's no middle ground." Reza left without another word. Her younger brother Ali was less subtle. He sent her a voice message that she saved that would later be played in court. "You disgust me. Every man in our family is humiliated because of you. If I were Dad, I'd have handled this a long time ago. You're lucky he's shown restraint." Restraint. That word haunted her. On September 22, 2023, the night before her death, Sarina posted her final Instagram update. It was a video of her at a gym, lifting weights, hair in a high ponytail, sports bra visible, sweat glistening on her shoulders. "Strength isn't just physical," she said to the camera, breathing hard. "It's choosing yourself every day, even when the world tells you you're wrong for existing. If I can do it, so can you. Never apologize for being alive." 8 million people have now watched that video. None of them knew it was her goodbye. That night, her father called. His voice was calm, almost gentle. "Sarina, can you come home tomorrow? Your mother misses you. Let's have dinner as a family. No fighting, I promise. Just, let's try to talk." She hesitated. Something felt off. But this was her father, the man who'd taught her to ride a bike, who'd carried her on his shoulders at the park, who'd once been capable of love. "Okay," she said. "I'll come at 7. She texted Armin, "Dad wants to talk. Wish me luck." He responded immediately. "Want me to come with you?" "No, family only. I'll be fine. Love you more. Text me when you're home safe." She never texted him again. Sarina arrived at her childhood home at 6:47 p.m. The house smelled like her mother's gourmet sabzi, the herb stew that had been Sarina's favorite since childhood. For a moment, standing in the doorway, she felt a rush of nostalgia so powerful it almost knocked her over. This was the home where she'd felt safe once. This was the kitchen where her mother had braided her hair before school. This was the living room where she'd fallen asleep watching cartoons in her father's lap. Could they go back? Could they find their way back to love? Her mother, Parisa, hugged her tightly, and Sarina felt the older woman trembling. "You're shaking, Mama," Sarina whispered. "I'm just happy to see you," her mother lied. Her father sat at the head of the table. Her 2 brothers flanked him like sentries. The setup felt wrong, too formal, too staged, but Sarina pushed the feeling down. "Sit," her father said, not unkindly, just flat. They ate in silence for 10 minutes. Sarina kept glancing at her phone. 6:58 p.m. 7:03 p.m. 7:09 p.m. Finally, her father put down his fork. "We need to talk about your Instagram." "Here it comes," she thought. "I'm not deleting it, Dad." You're destroying this family. I'm living my life. You're living like a whore." The word hung in the air like a bomb. Sarina stood up. "I'm leaving. Sit down." His voice was steel now. "No." Reza and Ali stood too, blocking the doorway. That's when Sarina knew. That's when the prey instinct kicked in, the animal knowledge that she was trapped. "Please," she said, voice shaking. "Please, I'm your daughter." "You were my daughter," Mahmoud said, standing slowly. "Now you're just a stain on our name." He reached behind the cabinet and pulled out the wrench. Parisa screamed. "Mahmoud, no, please, not this." But Reza and Ali grabbed their mother, held her back. Sarina tried to run. She made it 3 steps. The first blow caught her on the back of the head. She fell forward, hands breaking her fall, blood pouring into her eyes. "Dad," she gasped, "please." The second blow silenced her forever. He hit her 11 times in total. The autopsy would later confirm this. 11 blows with a steel wrench, delivered with the precision of someone who'd done violence before, who knew exactly how to end a life. When it was over, Mahmoud Esmailzadeh stood over his daughter's body, chest heaving, and said, "It's done." Parisa was on the floor, sobbing, rocking back and forth. Ali was pale, looked like he might vomit. Even Reza, the eldest, the one who'd said Dad was planning something, looked shaken. "What do we do now?" Reza whispered. Mahmoud cleaned the wrench methodically, wrapped it in newspaper, placed it in a bag. "We wait 3 hours, then we call the police." She fell down the stairs. A tragic accident. We're a grieving family. Everyone understands accidents. They sat with her body for 3 hours. At 11:17 p.m., Mahmoud called the authorities. "My daughter," he said, voice breaking convincingly. "She fell. Please send help. She's not breathing." Subscribe right now if you want justice for Sarina. Because what I'm about to tell you next, about what police found on her father's phone, about the network of men who encouraged this murder, will make your blood boil. If you scroll past this without subscribing, you're part of the problem. You're complicit in the silence that kills women like Sarina every single day. Don't be that person. The first responding officers saw exactly what Mahmoud wanted them to see. A family in mourning, a tragic accident, a young woman who'd fallen down the stairs. Case closed. But Detective Mariam Hosseini wasn't satisfied. Mariam was a rarity in Iranian law enforcement. A woman who'd clawed her way to detective, who'd survived harassment and discrimination, who'd solved cases her male colleagues had dismissed. She was brilliant, tenacious, and she had a nose for lies. When she arrived at the Esmailzadeh home at 6 a.m. the next morning, she saw the inconsistencies immediately. The stairs were carpeted. Sarina's head wounds were consistent with a blunt object, not a fall. The blood pattern was wrong, pooled in the dining room, not near any staircase. And Mahmoud's hands had defensive scratches, the kind you get when someone fights back. "Tell me again how she fell," Mariam said to Mahmoud. He repeated his story, word for word, too practiced. "And where were you when she fell?" "In the kitchen." "You didn't hear anything?" "She fell fast. By the time I got to her, she was unconscious." Mariam nodded slowly. "Mr. Esmailzadeh, I'm going to need your family's phones." His face flickered, just for a second. "Why?" "Standard procedure in any death investigation." He hesitated too long. "Of course, we have nothing to hide." But he did. And Mariam would prove it. The problem was, Sarina's phone was destroyed, smashed into pieces, found in 3 different trash bags throughout the house. Suspicious, but not conclusive. Then Mariam discovered the cloud backup. Everything on Sarina's phone, photos, messages, videos, had been automatically backed up to her iCloud account. And Sarina, smart girl that she was, had shared her account credentials with Armin, her fiancé. When Mariam contacted Arman, he broke down. "I knew something was wrong," he sobbed. "She always texted me when she got home. Always. When she didn't, I drove to her parents' house. They wouldn't let me in. They said she'd gone to bed. I knew. I knew. I need access to her cloud account," Mariam said gently. Arman pulled out his laptop right there in the police station. What they found destroyed Mahmoud's lies completely. Sarina had started recording audio on her phone the moment the dinner conversation turned tense. She'd hit record and slipped the phone into her pocket, face down. The entire murder was captured. Every word, every scream, every sickening crack of metal against bone. Mahmoud's voice, clear as day. "You were my daughter. Now you're just a stain on our name." Sarina's final words, "Dad, please," the sounds of violence. Parisa screaming, Reza and Ali's silence. And then, after it was over, the planning. "We wait 3 hours, then we call the police. She fell down the stairs." Premeditated, calculated, monstrous. Mariam sat in her office, headphones on, listening to the audio file, and wept. She'd heard terrible things in her career. She'd worked homicides for 8 years. But this was different. This was a father ending his daughter's life as casually as someone taking out trash. But Mariam knew the audio alone might not be enough. Iran's legal system was complicated, especially when it came to so-called honor killings. Fathers who killed their children often received reduced sentences or were acquitted entirely under Article 301 of the Islamic Penal Code, which allowed for leniency when a parent killed a child. She needed international pressure. She contacted Arman. "I'm going to tell you something that could get both of us arrested. Are you willing to risk it? For Sarina? Anything. Leak the audio to everyone. BBC Persian, VOA, human rights organizations, social media. Make this case so public that the government can't bury it." Arman didn't hesitate. Within 6 hours, the audio was everywhere. Within 12 hours, justice for Sarina was trending globally. Within 24 hours, the UN Human Rights Council issued a statement condemning Iran's failure to protect women. Within 48 hours, protests erupted in Tehran, with women burning their hijabs and chanting Sarina's name. The Iranian government, embarrassed on the world stage, had no choice. They arrested Mahmoud Esmailzadeh on September 29, 2023, 6 days after he'd murdered his daughter. Reza and Ali were arrested as accomplices. Parisa was placed under house arrest pending investigation into whether she'd tried to stop the murder or had been complicit. When police took Mahmoud away in handcuffs, journalists surrounded him, shouting questions. "Do you regret what you did?" Mahmoud looked directly into the camera and said, "I did what any honorable man would do. I protected my family's name. I'd do it again." Zero remorse, not a shred of humanity. And the world watched in horror. The trial began on July 15, 2024, in Tehran Criminal Court. The courtroom was packed. Journalists, activists, Sarina's friends, and hundreds of women who'd never met her but felt they'd lost a sister. Arman sat in the front row, clutching Sarina's photo, the engagement ring still on his finger. Mahmoud entered in prison clothes, head high, defiant. His defense attorney, a conservative cleric named Hossein Rahimi, argued that Mahmoud had acted within his rights as a father to preserve family honor. "My client is not a criminal," Rahimi said. "He is a victim of Western corruption that poisoned his daughter's mind. She rejected her faith, her culture, her family. She brought shame. Under Islamic law, a father has the right, the duty, to protect his family's honor." The prosecution, led by a young attorney named Layla Bahrami, was vicious in response. "Honor?" Layla's voice echoed through the courtroom. "There is no honor in murder. There is no honor in a father destroying the child he was supposed to protect. Mr. Esmailzadeh didn't protect anything. He annihilated a young woman whose only crime was wanting to breathe freely." Then came the evidence. The audio recording was played in open court. People gasped, women sobbed, even the judge looked shaken. Hearing Sarina's voice, terrified, pleading, calling him dad even as he killed her, was unbearable. Armin vomited in a trash can outside the courtroom. When the recording ended, the silence was deafening. The judge, a man named Hassan Karimi who'd presided over hundreds of cases and had seen everything, took off his glasses and rubbed his eyes. "Mr. Esmailzadeh," he said quietly, "do you have anything to say?" Mahmoud stood. She chose her path. She chose the West over her family. She chose shame over honor. "I am not sorry." The courtroom erupted. Women screamed at him. Guards had to restore order. The trial lasted 3 weeks. The verdict came on August 8, 2024. Mahmoud Esmailzadeh, this court finds you guilty of premeditated murder in the first degree. You planned this killing. You executed it with cold precision. You showed no mercy to your own child. Gasps of relief rippled through the room. "I hereby sentence you to death by hanging." The room exploded in applause. Women cried. Armin collapsed forward, shoulders shaking. Reza and Ali received 15 years each for conspiracy and aiding the murder. Parisa's case was more complicated, but she received 5 years for failing to report the crime, though many argued she'd been a victim too. Held back, forced to watch, powerless. But the most powerful moment came in Judge Karimi's closing statement. "Let me be clear," he said, voice steady. "There is no honor in murder. True honor is found in respecting human dignity, in protecting life, in allowing our daughters to be who they are. Sarina Esmailzadeh committed no crime. She lived. That was her only offense, and for that, her father killed her. This court sends a message today. We will not tolerate this. Not anymore." It was a landmark moment, a rare condemnation of honor killings from within Iran's own judicial system. A proposed law, nicknamed Sarina's Law, began circulating in parliament. Legislation that would criminalize honor killings with no cultural or religious defense allowed, making it impossible for fathers to claim leniency under Article 301. The law is still pending, blocked by hardliners. But something had shifted. Sarina's death had cracked open a conversation that had been suppressed for decades. If you're not subscribed yet, you need to be. Because what comes next, the conspiracy, the twist, the revelation that will leave you speechless, proves this story is far from over. This isn't just about one murder. This is about a system designed to kill women for being free. Don't scroll past this. Be part of the solution. Subscribe now. 2 months after the verdict, Detective Mariam Hosseini made a discovery that turned everything darker. She'd been going through Mahmoud's phone forensically. Not just the surface data, but deleted messages, hidden apps, encrypted chats. And she found the group. It was a WhatsApp chat called Morality Enforcers. 47 members, all men, all across Tehran and other Iranian cities. They were hunting women. The group shared photos of women they deemed immoral. Women without hijabs, women in makeup, women dancing, women living. They rated the women by threat level. They discussed which ones needed to be dealt with. Sarina had been marked Priority 1, High Threat. The messages about her were chilling. "This whore has 300K followers. She's corrupting our daughters. Someone needs to silence her permanently. Brother Mahmoud, she's your daughter. You have the responsibility. Handle it or we will." Mahmoud had responded, "I'm planning. Give me time." Another user, "Don't wait too long. Every day she posts is another day she wins." This wasn't a father snapping in anger. This was a coordinated campaign. Mahmoud had been pressured, encouraged, even guided by this network of vigilantes who believed they were doing God's work. Mariam dug deeper. 12 other women on the group's list had died in the past 2 years. All ruled accidents or suicides. Fell off a balcony Overdosed on pills, drowned in a bathtub, car accident on an empty road, hanged herself in her bedroom, all young, all active on social media, all immodest by the group's standards. Miriam brought her findings to her superiors. This is an underground network. We need to investigate every death, arrest every member of this group. But the pushback was immediate. You're making accusations against prominent men, businessmen, government employees. Even a parliament member's brother is in this chat. You can't touch them. They're murderers. Allegedly, you have circumstantial evidence at best. I have their own words. They're discussing killing women like they're ordering pizza. Drop it, detective. The Esmailzadeh case is closed. You got your conviction. Don't push your luck. But Miriam didn't drop it. She leaked her findings to the same international journalists who'd covered Sarina's case. Within days, the story exploded globally. Secret Iranian network targeting women for death. The government was forced to launch an investigation. 11 men from the WhatsApp group were arrested. The others fled or went into hiding. But here's the sick truth. Most of them will never face real consequences. They're too connected, too protected by a system that still, at its core, values male honor over female lives. Sarina's murder wasn't an isolated incident. It was part of a pattern, a culture, a system that teaches men they own women's bodies and can destroy them if they step out of line. 6 months into her prison sentence, Parisa Esmailzadeh gave an interview to an underground journalist named Yasmin Razavi. What she revealed shocked everyone. I tried to kill him first, Parisa said, voice hollow. 3 weeks before he killed Sarina, I tried to poison his tea. Yasmin's eyes widened. What? I knew he was planning something. I could see it in his eyes. He'd go quiet for days, just staring at Sarina's Instagram. His jaw clenched so tight I thought his teeth would crack. I heard him on the phone with his brothers, talking in code. It needs to be done. She's gone too far. It's time. Why didn't you warn Sarina? I did. I called her every day. I told her, don't come home. He's dangerous. But she didn't believe me. She thought I was being dramatic. She thought he'd never actually hurt her. She was wrong. So you tried to kill your husband? Parisa nodded. I bought rat poison. I mixed it into his tea one afternoon. But Ali came home early from work, interrupted us. Mahmoud never drank it. I poured it out after he left the room, my hands shaking so hard I almost dropped the cup. Did you try again? I didn't have time. He moved fast after that. It was like he sensed something. The next week, he killed her. Yasmin leaned forward. Mrs. Esmailzadeh, why didn't you tell the police this during your trial? Parisa's eyes filled with tears. Because I failed. I had one chance to save my daughter and I failed. What difference does it make now? She's still dead. My attempt to stop him means nothing when I stood there and watched him kill her. You were held back. Reza and Ali. I should have fought harder. Parisa's voice cracked. I should have thrown myself in front of her. I should have grabbed a knife and stabbed him. I should have died instead of her, but I froze. I was a coward, and now I have to live with that forever. The interview went viral. Public opinion split immediately. Some saw Parisa as a victim, a woman trapped in an abusive marriage who tried to save her daughter and failed. Others saw her as complicit, a mother who'd stood by for years while her husband terrorized Sarina, who'd only acted when it was too late. A group of women's rights attorneys filed an appeal for Parisa's sentence to be reduced, arguing she'd been under duress, that she'd tried to prevent the murder. The appeal is still pending. But here's what Parisa said at the end of the interview, and it haunts everyone who heard it. I loved my daughter more than I feared my husband. I just wasn't strong enough. And that's something I'll never forgive myself for. After Sarina's death, something strange started happening. Her Instagram account kept posting. 3 days after her murder, a new photo appeared. Sarina at sunset, smiling, caption reading, "Fear is temporary, regret is forever. Choose courage." Followers were confused, heartbroken. Some thought her account had been hacked. But then another post came a week later, and another 2 weeks after that. For 4 months, new content appeared on Sarina's page. Photos, quotes, messages about freedom and resilience. People speculated wildly. Was she alive? Had the murder been faked? Was someone impersonating her? Finally, Armin posted a video explaining. "Sarina knew she was living on borrowed time," he said, tears streaming down his face. "She told me once, if they kill me, I want my voice to keep going." So she spent months scheduling posts in advance. Dozens of them. Photos, quotes, thoughts she wanted to share. She set them to publish over the course of a year. He held up his phone, showing the scheduling app. This is her final gift. Even in death, she refuses to be silenced. The revelation was devastating and beautiful in equal measure. Every time a new post appeared, it felt like Sarina was reaching out from beyond, reminding her followers that her fight wasn't over just because her heart had stopped. The comments on these posts were overwhelming. "You saved my life. I left my abusive family because of you. Your courage gave me courage. I escaped Iran last month. Thank you for not staying quiet. Thank you for showing us it's possible to be free. You died for us. We won't let it be in vain." Today, Sarina's Instagram has 2.1 million followers. Her final scheduled post went live in January 2025. It was a video of her looking directly into the camera, recorded months before her death. "If you're watching this, I'm probably gone, and that's okay. I lived the way I wanted. I died the way I feared. But I don't regret a single choice. To every woman out there who's scared to be herself, your freedom is worth the risk. Don't let them make you invisible. I'll see you on the other side." 8 million people have watched that video. Armin now manages her account, transforming it into a memorial and a movement. He posts updates about Sarina's law, shares stories of women who've escaped oppressive situations, and runs a foundation in her name that provides resources for at-risk women in Iran. Let's talk numbers, because numbers don't lie. In Iran, an estimated 300–400 honor killings occur every year. That's the official estimate. The real number is likely double or triple that, because most honor killings are disguised as accidents, suicides, or natural deaths. Globally, over 5,000 women are killed in honor killings annually. 58% of victims are killed by their fathers. 91% of perpetrators receive reduced sentences or face no punishment at all. The legal loophole that allows this? In many jurisdictions with Islamic law, fathers cannot be executed for killing their children. Article 301 of Iran's Islamic Penal Code explicitly allows for leniency when a parent kills a child, particularly if honor is invoked as the motive. Mahmoud Esmailzadeh, despite his death sentence, filed an appeal using this exact law. His attorneys argued that as Sarina's father, he couldn't be executed under qisas, retributive justice, because parents are exempt. The appeal is still being debated. He might escape the death penalty entirely. Let that sink in. A man who brutally murdered his daughter, who showed zero remorse, who inspired a network of men to target other women, might live out his life in prison instead of facing execution, all because of a loophole designed to protect patriarchal violence. But Sarina's death did spark something unprecedented. An underground network called Sarina's Sisters was formed in November 2023, just 2 months after her murder. It's a clandestine operation run by activists, human rights workers, and Arman himself, dedicated to helping at-risk Iranian women escape the country. Since its founding, Sarina's Sisters has evacuated over 2,000 women. They operate safe houses in Turkey, Armenia, and the UAE. They provide digital security training so women can avoid being tracked by family members or the morality police. They offer legal assistance, temporary housing, job placement, and psychological support. Armin works 18-hour days running the operation. "I couldn't save her," he told a journalist last year. "But I can save them. Every woman we get out is a piece of Sarina that survives. It's the only way I can live with myself." The women they've saved range from teenagers fleeing forced marriages, to mothers escaping abusive husbands, to influencers like Sarina, who'd been targeted for their social media presence. One woman, a 19-year-old named Mina, gave an interview after being evacuated. "My father found my Instagram. He said he'd kill me the way Sarina's father killed her. But I reached out to Sarina's sisters. They got me across the border in 3 days. I'm alive because Sarina died. I owe her everything." This is Sarina's legacy. Not just a cautionary tale, not just a tragedy, but a movement, a lifeline, a beacon for women who refuse to be erased. 8 months after his conviction, on April 12, 2025, Mahmoud Esmailzadeh was found dead in his prison cell. The official report: suicide by hanging. He'd used his bedsheet, tied it to the cell bars, and ended his life in the same manner he'd been sentenced to die. The case was closed within 48 hours. Suicide. No foul play suspected. But inmates tell a different story. Prisoners who were on the same block as Mahmoud whispered that he'd been targeted. Not by guards, not by the state, but by other inmates, specifically fathers of daughters who'd been murdered in honor killings. "The women's fathers got to him," one inmate told an anonymous journalist. "They cornered him in the shower, told him, 'You made honor killings famous. You made the world look at us. Now you pay for it.' They didn't kill him right then, but they told him if he didn't hang himself by morning, they'd do it slower, more painful." Another source claimed Mahmoud had been beaten severely the night before his death. Bruises on his torso, cracked ribs, a split lip. None of this appeared in the official autopsy report. Was it suicide? Was it murder disguised as suicide? Was it prison justice delivered by men who'd lost their own daughters and saw Mahmoud as a symbol of everything wrong with their culture? The truth died with him. The Iranian government closed the investigation with suspicious speed, almost like they were relieved to have the problem solved one way or another. Armin's response when he heard the news? "I don't care how he died. I only care that he's gone. Sarina can rest now." But can she? Sarina Esmailzadeh's grave sits in a cemetery on the outskirts of Tehran, marked by a simple headstone that reads, "Beloved daughter, free spirit, forever 22. Every week, Armin visits. He brings flowers, always sunflowers, her favorite. He sits on the ground beside her, sometimes for hours, and talks to her like she's still listening. "I told them your story again today," he'll say. "Another woman escaped because of you. Her name is Layla. She's 24. She made it to Turkey. She's safe now." Or, "The foundation raised another 50,000 euros this month. We're opening a new safe house in Yerevan. You'd be proud." Or, on the hard days, "I still wear the ring. People ask me when I'm going to move on. I tell them I already have someone. She's just somewhere else now." He's 30 years old. He hasn't dated anyone since Sarina died. He says he doesn't want to. "She was it for me," he told a documentary filmmaker last month. "You don't get 2 perfect loves in one lifetime. I got mine. I just didn't get to keep her as long as I thought." The grave is never without flowers. Strangers leave them. Women from all over Iran who make pilgrimages to pay their respects to a girl they never met, but who changed their lives. There are notes tucked between the flowers. "Thank you for showing me I don't have to be afraid. Because of you, I left my husband. I'm free now. My daughter is named Sarina. She'll know your story. You didn't die in vain. We're still fighting." The Iranian government has tried to suppress Sarina's story. They've blocked websites that discuss her case. They've arrested activists who organize annual memorials on the anniversary of her death. They've even pressured her family to stop speaking to the media. But you can't kill an idea. You can't bury a movement. Every September 23rd, despite the bans, despite the risks, hundreds of women gather in secret locations across Iran, basements, private homes, hidden courtyards, to hold vigils in Sarina's honor. They light candles. They share her story with younger women who are just discovering what it means to fight for freedom. They remove their hijabs and stand together, defiant, alive. The morality police raid some of these gatherings. Women are arrested, fined, sometimes beaten. But the next year, they gather again. Because Sarina taught them something the regime can never erase. Freedom, once tasted, can never be forgotten. Sarina's story didn't stay contained to Iran. It sparked conversations about honor killings worldwide, in Pakistan, India, Jordan, Turkey, parts of Europe where immigrant communities still practice these traditions. The UN General Assembly passed a resolution in December 2024, naming September 23rd International Day Against Honor Violence in Sarina's memory. Organizations dedicated to ending honor killings saw a 400% increase in funding after her story went global. Laws began changing. Turkey amended its penal code to remove honor as a mitigating factor in murder cases. Jordan followed. Pakistan's parliament is debating similar legislation. It's slow. It's painfully slow, but it's happening. And it's happening because a 22-year-old girl refused to be invisible. Celebrities started speaking out. Emma Watson gave a speech at the UN referencing Sarina. Malala Yousafzai dedicated a chapter in her latest book to the Iranian girl who died for daring to live. Human rights organizations used her image, with Armin's permission, in campaigns to raise awareness. Her face became a symbol. Her name became a rallying cry. Some critics argue that Sarina's story has been exploited by Western media to demonize Iran and Muslim cultures. They say it reinforces stereotypes, that it ignores the complexity of cultural context. Armin's response to these critics was fierce. Anyone who thinks Sarina's death is being exploited can go to hell. She's dead. Her father murdered her because she wanted to breathe freely. There's no cultural context that makes that okay. There's no nuance that softens that horror. Stop intellectualizing femicide and start stopping it. He's right. There's a time for nuance, for understanding complex cultural dynamics, for recognizing that not all Muslims or all Iranians support honor killings. But there's also a time to say clearly, unambiguously, killing women for how they dress, who they love, or how they live is wrong. Period. No exceptions, no excuses. Sarina's story forces that clarity. It doesn't let you hide behind relativism or cultural differences. It puts a face, a beautiful, smiling, heartbreaking face, to the statistics we so easily ignore. As of October 2025, Sarina's law remains stalled in Iranian parliament. The proposed legislation would eliminate Article 301's leniency for parents who kill their children and make honor killings a specific criminal category with mandatory minimum sentences. No exceptions, no appeals, no cultural defenses. It would also provide legal protections for women trying to escape abusive situations and establish government-funded safe houses. Progressive members of parliament have fought for it. International pressure continues to mount. Activists refuse to let it die. But conservative hardliners block it at every turn. This law would destroy the family unit, one parliament member argued. It would give women license to abandon their families, to reject their culture. We cannot allow Western values to corrupt our society. The irony is almost too painful to process. They're arguing that giving women the right to live without being murdered would destroy society. Armin has testified before Parliament twice, pleading for the law's passage. "My fiancée is dead because your laws protected her killer," he said, voice shaking with rage. "How many more Sarinas have to die before you decide women's lives matter as much as men's honor?" No answer came. The law is expected to be brought to vote again in early 2026. Activists are cautiously hopeful, But they've learned not to expect miracles. Change in Iran comes slowly, painfully, paid for in the blood of women like Sarina. Let me tell you about 3 women who are alive today because of Sarina. Zara, 21, escaped in March 2024. Her father discovered she'd been secretly dating a Christian man. He told her brothers to handle it. They beat her unconscious and locked her in a room, planning to kill her once they figured out how to make it look like an accident. But Zara had her phone. She contacted Sarina's sisters while pretending to be unconscious. Within 6 hours, activists had coordinated with sympathetic neighbors to create a distraction. A small fire in a trash can outside the family's building. When the family rushed outside, a volunteer posing as a firefighter helped Zara slip out through a back entrance. She made it to Turkey. She's now living in Germany, studying computer science and volunteering with organizations that help other women escape. I think about Sarina every day, Zara said. She died so I could live. I carry that responsibility with me. I have to make my freedom mean something. Nazanin, 26, escaped in August 2024. She'd been married at 16 to a man twice her age. He beat her regularly. When she tried to leave, her own father said, "If you divorce him, you'll bring shame to us. I'll kill you myself." She stayed for 10 years. She had 2 children. She endured. Then she saw Sarina's story and something broke open inside her. "I realized I was teaching my daughters to accept abuse," Nazanin said. "I was showing them that women exist to be hurt. I couldn't do it anymore." She contacted Sarina's sisters. They got her and her daughters out through the Armenian border. She's now in France, working as a translator, raising her daughters to believe they deserve safety and dignity. "Sarina saved 3 lives," Nazanin said. "Mine and my 2 girls. That's her legacy." Mariam, 19, escaped in February 2025. Her crime? She'd posted TikTok videos of herself singing, face covered, but voice clear, beautiful. Her brothers found the account. They were furious. "Singing is haram. You're disgracing us." They started planning her death. She overheard them discussing drowning her in the bathtub, making it look like a slip and fall. She ran. Sarina's sisters got her to Turkey in 48 hours. "I'm going to keep singing," Mariam said. "For Sarina, for every woman who was silenced. I'm going to be so loud they'll never forget us." These are just 3 stories out of 2,000. 2,000 women alive today who wouldn't be if Sarina hadn't died. Is that a fair trade? Of course not. Sarina should be alive too. But this is her legacy. She turned her death into a lifeboat for others. Here's what nobody wants to say out loud, but I'm going to say it anyway. Sarina Esmailzadeh isn't special because she was particularly brave or beautiful or articulate. She's special because we know her name. For every Sarina whose story goes global, there are hundreds of women whose murders stay hidden, dismissed as accidents, buried in unmarked graves, forgotten by everyone except the people who love them. Women killed for refusing arranged marriages. Women killed for having boyfriends. Women killed for getting educations. Women killed for wanting careers. Women killed for dancing, singing, laughing too loud, existing too fully. The horror isn't that Sarina died. The horror is that her death is common. The horror is that right now, as you read this, there's a girl somewhere, maybe in Iran, maybe in Pakistan, maybe in Jordan, maybe in Texas or London or Sydney where immigrant communities still practice these traditions, who's being told by her father or brother that she's brought shame to the family. And she's terrified because she knows what shame means. She knows what happens to girls who bring shame. This isn't ancient history. This isn't a problem over there that we can ignore. This is happening now, today, this hour. And the only thing that stops it is people like you refusing to look away, refusing to stay silent, refusing to accept that women's lives are negotiable depending on geography or culture. If you've made it this far without subscribing, I need you to ask yourself why. This isn't about me or my channel. This is about amplifying stories that the powerful want buried. Every subscription, every share, every comment telling YouTube's algorithm that this content matters, it all adds up to pressure. Pressure on governments, pressure on communities, pressure that saves lives. If you can watch a woman be murdered by her father and still scroll past without doing the bare minimum of clicking a button, then you need to examine your own complicity in the silence that kills women like Sarina every single day. Don't be complicit. Subscribe. Now. I want to leave you with something Sarina wrote in her journal, discovered after her death, now published online in full. It was written 3 months before her murder. I know I might die for this. I know my choices could cost me everything. My father looks at me like I'm already a ghost. Like I've already died, and he's just waiting for my body to catch up with the reality. But here's what I've learned. There are worse things than dying young. You can die at 22 with a bullet to the head, or you can die at 22 and live another 60 years as a corpse. You can suffocate slowly under the weight of other people's expectations, or you can take one huge breath of freedom before you go. I choose freedom. Even if it kills me, I choose it. And if I die, I want my death to mean something. I want girls who are scared right now to look at my life and think, she did it, she lived fully, maybe I can too. That's worth dying for. That's the only thing worth dying for. She was right. Her death meant something. It still means something. And it will continue meaning something as long as we refuse to forget her. Arman. Still running Sarina's sister's foundation. Still wearing his engagement ring. Still visiting her grave every week. He's been offered book deals, movie rights, speaking tours. He's turned them all down. This isn't about me, he says. This is about her, and the women we can still save. Detective Mariam Hosseini, promoted to Chief Inspector in the Tehran Police Department's Homicide Division. She's using her position to push for more thorough investigations of accidental deaths involving young women. She's solved 14 cold cases that were previously ruled suicides or accidents, now reclassified as honor killings. She's received death threats. She doesn't care. Parisa Esmailzadeh, still in prison. Her appeal for sentence reduction was denied in July 2025. She'll serve her full 5-year term. She spends her time counseling other female inmates, many of whom are there for moral crimes, adultery, refusing to wear hijab, trying to leave abusive marriages. She's become an unlikely advocate for women's rights behind bars. Reza and Ali Esmailzadeh, serving their 15-year sentences in different prisons. Reza has reportedly expressed remorse, telling a prison counselor, "I should have protected her. I knew Dad would do it. I knew, and I did nothing." Ali remains defiant, insisting they acted righteously. The Morality Enforcers WhatsApp group, 11 members convicted and sentenced to various prison terms, 520 years. The others remain at large. The investigation is ongoing, though progress has stalled due to political interference. Sarina's Instagram account, now managed by a team of volunteers working with Arman. It's evolved into a resource hub, posting information about women's rights, escape routes for at-risk women, legal resources, and stories of survivors. It gains approximately 10,000 new followers every month. Sarina's law, still pending in Parliament, expected to be voted on in February 2026. Activists are organizing a massive awareness campaign to pressure lawmakers. The women saved by Sarina's sisters, over 2,000 and counting. They live across Europe, North America, and parts of Asia. Many stay in touch, forming a global community of survivors. They call themselves Sarina's daughters. Sarina Esmailzadeh lived for 22 years, 4 months, and 17 days. She posted 1,247 photos on Instagram. She had 300,000 followers when she died. She has 2.1 million followers now. Her father took 11 swings with a wrench to end her life. It took 11 seconds. But her legacy, Her refusal to be erased, her insistence that women deserve to exist freely, that will outlive all of us. She wanted to be remembered. Mission accomplished, Sarina. Every woman who escapes because of your story, every law that changes because of the pressure your death created, every young girl who sees your photo and thinks, I can be brave too. That's you, still fighting, still refusing to disappear. Your father silenced your voice, but he couldn't silence your echo. And that echo is getting louder every day. Rest in power, Sarina Esmailzadeh. You died for freedom, but you won. You won. Final call to action. If this story didn't move you to subscribe, to share, to do something, then I don't know what will. 300 women will be killed in honor killings this year in Iran alone. Thousands more worldwide. Every single one of them deserves to have their story told. Every single one of them deserves justice. Your subscription keeps this channel alive. It keeps these stories from being buried. It keeps pressure on governments and communities that want you to forget these women existed. Don't forget. Don't scroll past. Don't let Sarina's death be meaningless. Be on the right side of history. Subscribe now. Share this video. Make noise. Because silence is exactly what her killers want. Prove them wrong.